Alright, we're out in Rocky Point today. Start our day of service calls. It's kind of nice because I actually have 3 or 4 service calls, and we're also working on a 2.5 ton heat pump installation simultaneously. Luckily, the old heat pump is still in operation, so it's sort of, we can take our time with it if we need to. It's kind of nice because it's 76 is the high today. I never get to do service calls that are no cools when it's 76 outside. It's always 94. So it's going to be a real treat. Try to get film on a few of them and see what happens. Alright, the first call is a Goodman GPH package unit, about 5 years old. We have a blower and outdoor fan, but no compressor. So the number one thing you're going to think about is this capacitor. It looks a little bulged, but I want you to listen to this, sort of get an idea what we're looking for. See if we can hear it. That little buzz right there. Let's see if we can hear it again. Wait a few seconds. Listen for a buzz. That's it. That's the compressor trying to start. It's not able to start because it doesn't have the capacitor. As you see, I plugged in my little gauge here just to see if there's refrigerant in there, and there is. So I'm going to go get the capacitor, check it out, and we'll probably swap it out. So you're measuring from Herm to common. It should be 40, and we have nothing. In fact, the fan side was hardly nothing too, but I guess it had just enough juice to get the fan started. But we're going to switch this out, and we should be good. Alright, we got to get the proper wires back on there. For this one, yellow, Herm compressor, the 2 reds to the common side. And then we have our brown wire is for the fan, which Goodman, most of the time that's the same. And then we can fasten it back in place. Alright, we started her back up and the compressor came on. There's our breakaway amps there when we start out. So let's see what she's running now. Steady. 6.3, pretty good. So that's all it was, another capacitor. There'll be plenty more this summer. So on to the next call. Our second service call is a leak search on a Goodman. It's a trailer, it's a Mortex coil with a Goodman straight AC, and no one can seem to find this leak. I already found a leak at the liquid service valve with bubbles appearing, so that was easy so far. If there's more than one, I don't know, but no leak lock on the caps, nothing like that to prevent that. Several companies have been out, sort of disappointing. So so far we got one. Alright, looks like we have about 80 pounds of pressure on the system, which is it's not very good. So I'm going to go ahead and start pumping it down. I got it hooked up. I got the service valve shut for the liquid side, so it'll store all the refrigerant in the condenser. And I have the wrench ready to shut down the suction side for when we reach 0. I'm going to depress the contactor to get it running cool mode, make sure it's setting cool but not calling for cool. And I'm going to use my handle off my wire strippers, since it's non-conductive, to press it in. And we'll go ahead and pump that down, and then we'll get ready to make our repair. Alright, we pulled the system down. It's actually in a slight vacuum. Make sure to turn the power off after you do this, so no happy homeowner comes to turn his AC on while you're working on it and gets a little surprise. Alright, I have nitrogen pressure on the line set and coil. The coil had a pinch-off tube on it where they had introduced refrigerant or tested it or something like that, and it was still pinched. Of course the tool wasn't on it still, but the end was cut off, so obviously that was leaking, because the only time those pinch-offs are really airtight is when the tool's still on them. So I had to weld that shut. I'm going to replace the Schrader core that was leaking on the indoor coil. I have it tested right now, and so far it's not budging, and then we can pull a vacuum on it and recharge it, because it's bound to be a little low in charge. It only had about 80 pounds standing pressure when I got here, and it should have been a little bit higher than that. So probably have a little bit of recharging to do, and then hopefully he's good to go. There's our brass cap, and we welded off that pinch-off fitting. Alright, got it set up for vacuum. Everything that can have nylog on it, all the gauge ports. Even got both of them hooked up to the core removers. Got my 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch hoses, 1/2 inch connection. Everything pretty much nylogged up and ready to roll. Let the pump get rumbling first. Hold on to the vacuum. Real quick. Rolling down. Start rolling down this way. Get closer to 29, we'll start going into microns. See how long it takes here. Shouldn't be too long. Come on. Yeah, getting a little bored here waiting. Oh, it's because I'm an idiot. Oh, no, I didn't. Different things. It goes down pretty fast. So it shouldn't take too awful long to get done. So I'm going to go ahead and run this down. Really only have to get 1,000 for R22, but I'll run it down a little bit lower than that. And we'll go from there. Okay, I was charging up the unit and it was going really slow. Sometimes on these units you'll have a valve core resets a little bit farther than it should be, and it doesn't take much charge. You'll notice that you have a high pressure going into that valve core to charge through your gauges, but you're not actually getting much weight difference as far as getting poundage into the machine. So what I did was I took my valve core remover and I removed that core so I can charge more quickly. And you can do this on startup too. If you're going to charge liquid or something like that, it'll go even faster. So that's what I did here, so I can speed up the charge. You can see it was barely moving before, now we're up to 12 ounces in a matter of seconds, so that's a lot better. The charge was pretty deficient. We started out with a superheat of 70, and we're going to be moving downward toward 22. Alright, we're all done with the Goodman CKL, or whatever it is, CKL 36 straight cool unit. With some new brass caps here. So it's good to go, cooling like a champ. So we'll recheck in the fall to make sure we didn't miss anything. And we're all done here.